Okay, what's going on, beautiful people? I hope and pray that you all are just doing phenomenally well. So on this video, I'm going to share with you three must things that you have to do before you go out there and start buying rental properties. All right. So this is something you're not going to want to miss. And of course, please like, subscribe, share all of those amazing things. All right. Now, let's dive right into the content as usual. So, when it comes to buying rentals, I think this is one of the most important strategies that you can do for your future. Okay. And I think that it's also important to say that this is a wealth building strategy. Okay. As the saying goes, we are playing chess, not checkers, right? And so when it comes to buying rentals, I just think that that's important to know. And I think that it's also important to know that we should be doing this alongside some of the other strategies that I preach and swear by, like wholesaling real estate and fix and flips, right? All those other strategies are amazing, but they're also not wealth building strategies. Are you with me? And so if you're not careful, you'll end up getting into what some investors call a wholesaling hamster wheel, if you may, right? So let's talk about thing number one that we need to know when it comes to buying rentals, okay? So that way you're not stuck in that hamster wheel. Number one is follow the 1% rule. All right, Clifford, what does this mean? I'm glad you asked. All right, it is where, let's say, for example, my all-in cost on a property is $100,000 or $150,000. Okay, that means my purchase price and my rehab. Let's say I bought the house for $100,000. I put $50,000 into it, so my all-in cost is 150. Now, at bare minimum, I should be able to rent that property out for no less than 1,500 a month. Okay, that is going to be a good rule of thumb when you are buying your rental properties. It is called the 1% rule. All right. Now, full disclaimer, if you live in California and you're watching this, you may need to invest in other areas where this 1% rule follows. Okay. Yes, I already know there's going to be somebody that says, hey, the 1% rule doesn't work here. Well, find somewhere it does and start buying rental properties. That's simple. Okay. Point blank and simple. Um, but that's what's going to make sure that you are cash flowing on these properties. Okay. So, number two is making sure that you are buying in high appreciating areas. As I mentioned a moment ago, that rentals are a wealth building strategy. Okay. It's a long term strategy. And how we do that is by capitalizing on that appreciation. You want to use things like heat maps and actually base your purchases off of data. I want to make sure that I'm buying in certain areas that where the property values are projected to double within the next 10 years. That's what I'm trying to go after. In fact, I want you to think about this. If you're a homeowner, if you know anybody that owns a home that has been in that house for longer than 4 or 5 years, and think about, has their property value doubled? Right? Now, imagine if you owned 10 houses that doubled in value in 10 years, how amazing that would be. All right. And what that can do for your future generations and your wealth building. All right. So, you want to make sure that you are in high appreciating areas. Okay. If you're in Dinosaur, Colorado, and yes, that is a place. Okay. You probably don't want to be buying there. Okay. Unless you know something that I don't know. But also pay attention to market trends, right? And things that are coming up. You know, I was on a mentorship call with one of my community members, and they were looking for a rental property, and I believe it was Taylor, Texas. Okay, because the Samsung has broken ground on like a massive development that they're doing out there, and they're projected to hire 20,000 people. Well, if they're projected to hire 20,000 people, by 2030, which is in 5 years, less than 5 years, right? Then that's probably going to be a good place to kind of get ahead of the curve and maybe start picking up rentals there. Are you with me on that? So make sure that you're paying attention to those type of things. And then lastly, third is going to be making sure that you use a property management company. All right. You do not want to be dealing with tenants and toilets. You want to make sure that you have a property management company in place that's going to put all of your contracts, your lease agreements, they're going to make sure all of your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed when it comes to rental properties, okay? Because God forbid that you have to evict somebody, and you want to make sure that all of that stuff is put in place and put in place correctly. A lot of the people that you talk to who are tired landlords and tired of dealing with tenants, that's probably because they're dealing with the tenants. That's probably because they do not have a property management company in place. A good property management company is worth their weight in gold. And y'all, they only charge 8 to 10, maybe 12%, right? Of your rent. So let's say, for example, that same house was renting for, 1,500. Well, guess what? Their fee at 10% is going to be $150. That's worth their weight in gold. If I never have to talk to the tenant, if all of my contracts are in place, my leases are in place, and I know that I'm good there. Okay. They even typically have handy men or handy women on staff that can go over there and fix little minor things that pop up. So this way I am never ever bothered. Okay. In fact, even with my property management company, there's like a limit. Anything less than $1,000 that needs to be fixed, they have my full blessing to go fix it and just send me an invoice. Okay. Anything over that, then of course, yeah, they'll call me on that to let me know what's going on. But a property management company is worth its weight in gold. So make sure that you are having or have all of these three things as you start to buy your rental properties, and watch over time how your wealth begins to accumulate. And I want to challenge you, if you're watching this within me, especially if you stuck with it this long, I want to challenge you, if you don't have any rentals, okay, go out there and buy your first rental this year, okay? Don't figure out, well, you're going to have to figure out how, but don't start panicking and say, well, how am I going to do it? I can't do it. None of that. There's so many different ways that you can go out there and pick up your first rental property, whether that's using the BRRRR strategy, sub-2, creative financing, a private money lender, a hard money lender. There's ways to do it. Figure it out. But I want to challenge you, do not get stuck in that wholesaling hamster wheel and start buying rentals today, this year. All right. So let me know in the comments below if you're in on this challenge, but I will see y'all soon. Check out all of the links in the description for any upcoming events that I have, whether that's in person or virtual. You'll be able to see those below. But